Hi, gang. Welcome to episode 16 of Get Help Hangouts. My name is Trevor Beck. I'm one of the hosts here today, and we're going to be talking about some really cool stuff. Google has curriculum that we can make use of. You don't have to go in and create any files or anything like that. It's already done for you. So Nick's going to be talking to us about that. However, before we get started in introductions and stuff, I just want to make sure that everyone has a chance to ask questions. So in our you can see the slide deck here. We have the question tool up and running. So if you want to open this up in a separate tab or a separate window, goo.gl/slides/xwvpcw. I'll put that up there for a second so you can write it down. Any questions you've got, put them in there. There is a chat within the Hangout window on the YouTube page. You can use that to chat and stuff. We'll look at it, but the questions we're going to take are going to be from this slide here. So if you want to make sure you put that in, your questions there, and do the chat on the backside, that sounds fine. So that's our slide. Don't look at the URL at the bottom. Look at the one at the top of the page. I forgot to switch those around there. The other thing is all of our show notes, if you ever want to look at a back history piece, are at bit.ly/gethelpshownotes. So any of our previous shows and stuff, the show notes for this show will be in that URL. Help yourself to whatever you need. We've got the links that you're going to be seeing on our shows here. Rather than trying to remember them all, they'll be in the show notes. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is look at our agenda. We're going to talk about what's new from Google. We're going to have our feature presentation, and then we're going to be doing our random share. But before we do any of that, I'd like to start off by getting our panel here to introduce ourselves. You know what, guys? I'm going to leave Tom to last because I want to introduce Tom separately, and then I'm going to start with Allison. So if you guys can start.
Oh, hi. I'm glad to be here today. My name is Allison Malika. I've been working with Google as an education trainer since 2012. And I work with schools and trainers to support everything Google.
Nick?
Hi, I'm Nick Cusumano. I'm a Director of Instructional Technology in St. Louis, Missouri, and I've just completed my 7th Google certification. I guess I went in the whole hog, so I now have the Google Cloud certification for GSuite, which will tie in a little bit with the applied digital skills that we'll get to a little bit later.
Okay, so just so everyone understands the 7 that he's talking about, I'm going to do the ones I know, and then Nick, you can fill in the blanks. So we have Google Educator 1, Google Educator 2, Google Certified Trainer, Google Innovator, Google Administrator, and what are the 2 that I don't know other than Cloud?
The other one I did the Google Geo Teacher Institute last summer at Mountain View. So I finally made it to the mothership after 10 years.
Okay, so basically, Nick No Sleep is what we're going to be calling you. Justin.
Hey guys, I'm Justin. I'm a Googler from Mountain View, California. I'm a community manager for Google for Education, certified trainers, certified innovators, and GEG leaders.
So Justin is one of the guys looking after our Google groups for certified education trainers. So when someone says, I can't get access to this group, Justin's the guy that's going to add you up. Justin's one of basically our Google contact through the Google training group. Now, some of you may remember David as the head manager. Is that what he was?
Program manager, yeah.
Manager. David's gone on. We now have a new program, temporary program manager, I understand, is Tom. So Tom, would you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name's Tom. Thank you for having me on here today. I work with Justin. I've been at Google now for around 3.5 years, and I head up our professional development and impact programs team. So all of the professional development programs, including certified trainers, certified innovators, the certifications, or most of the 7 that were just mentioned, my team looks after. And unfortunately, as you mentioned, David has gone off to another job at Google. He's moved to the East Coast to actually work directly with schools from the East Coast. And so I'm going to be doing what I can to support the program whilst we find a permanent replacement for David. But I'm thrilled to be joining this today. I'm actually at BET at the moment. So we hung out with all of the trainers and innovators last night at the Mixer So it was good catching up with the European folks there, and happy to be here with the probably primarily US folks who are watching right now.
However, you're probably more comfortable being in London now than you have been the last few months being
I forgot
in North America, right?
I forgot how grey England is. I think I had to
I love it.
England to realize just how grey England is. Yeah, and it's no wonder we're a slightly more sedentary bunch. It's kind of depressing. But we spend a lot of time.
Okay, thanks, Tom. So let's move along really quickly. Just some reminders, because we have a bunch of new trainers that are coming on. It seems like every couple of months we have a few hundred that join in. So for those of you that haven't been much use in the Google group, I want to remind everyone, before you post your question, how do I do X, Y, and Z? Please use the search function first. The answers are probably there. It's been covered a number of times. The idea of the group is to use it as a resource, not just to start spewing out and asking questions. So make sure that you do go ahead and check out that Google group. At the very top of the group, there's a bunch of handy links that are there. One of the things that everyone always says as soon as they get their trainer is, how do I get my trainer domain set up? There are links there on the process. There is a great series of videos there on how to set up your trainer domain once you have it. So please look through the answers there before asking the same questions that have been asked hundreds of times. Get Help Hangouts, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, basically is where we kind of do like a little bit of professional development for you guys. And so what we want to do is, I'd like to get some feedback from you. There's a document that we have called What Do You Want to See in Get Help Hangouts. There's some information that's already been in there. If you see something that you like, put a me too or a +1 or something like that. So, vote on it. If there's something new you'd like to see, put it in the list and we'll check on that. And then hopefully over, as we program this program, we'll be able to address that. Okay, so what's new with Google? I'm going to kind of run through this, guys. If pretty much what we're going to do is we're not going to go spend too much time showing stuff. We just want to make sure everyone's aware of it. The links here will take you to all the things that are information about this. So we all know, or should know pretty quick, there's a new Google UI involved or available. It's been, I think it's mandatory pushed last week. So everyone should be seeing the new UI. Some really cool features in it that kind of take some of the labs that were there before and have built them in. So for example, linking to documents in your Google Drive and that kind of stuff. So that's one of the things you should be aware of. New improvements to docs and slides. One of the things that they've taken out of in slides is the ability to publish as HTML, which was actually an older function, but I know some people are still using it for that or even for Google Docs. Exciting for me, search within a folder. That is very cool, where I can now pick a folder, right click on it. There's a menu that pops up that says only search within this folder, and then I can use my regular Google Drive search. Very exciting stuff for that. I don't remember if we talked about this. I know there's some new changes coming up, named versions and accept all changes. I think named versions is from August, but the accept all changes is something that's rolling out or is fairly new. So you don't have to actually manually go through each of those changes. You just say, yep, it looks good, and accept all of those. So there's some information from Google there. Google from UK put out this awesome video this week called Stay Safe from Phishing and Scams. It actually goes through and shows you what you should be looking at as far as the URL, as far as the branding that people use to try and fake you out. Excellent piece. I recommend you pass it on to every senior citizen that you're involved with, your parents, whatever, because this is the stuff that they get caught all the time. It's also great for your own students and stuff. So pretty much, I think I posted it in the group, but if you care, share. It's one of those things that everyone should take a look at. And it's only 3 minutes. So that's our What's New section. Anyone got any comments or anything they want to talk about or address for that? Okay.
Do we have any extra time built in or no?
Oh, I'm sure.
I can wait for next time.
Sure, you got a couple of things. We got a couple of minutes.
All right. Well, we were talking about what's new with Google, and a couple of things they introduced when they changed the name to GSuite. They kind of launched this under the there wasn't a lot of chat about the artificial intelligence and the machine learning that's built into the G Suite itself with those changes. I just want to make the trainers aware as they go around and they're teaching people new things that it's pretty exciting, and you can find more information out on it if you Google it. I'll just show you a couple of slides so that you can see what I'm talking about. As part of my What's Up Google presentation that I share at different events, Google put out that they analyzed how people are spending a lot of time doing certain tasks at work and while they're using different tools. And so that the machine learning and the artificial intelligence that was launched with this new GSuite name has impacted our Google Drive and our other products. So just to highlight, in case you didn't know, that this is part of that machine intelligence where it's helping drive files that you want, not just based on what you've most recently accessed, but who you interact with, who you have appointments with, and things like that. Also in Calendar, there's a new enhanced Find a Time feature that will allow you, let's say you need to invite 30 people from a group. It will help you find a time when all 30 people are free, and that's part of that machine learning piece as well. In the sheets, in the docs, and in the slides, those new features built in with Explore is part of that too. So if you have large sets of data and you go to Explore, you can have like all the presidents in the US in a spreadsheet and show a fourth grader to ask how many presidents were from Ohio. And it will pull that data. So you can ask in natural language as well. So the Explore tool is in Sheets. The Explore tool is also in the Google Docs. That replaced what was it before? I forget. Everyone was up in the air, but you can use the Explore feature in Docs and it will find out more about what's in your doc and give you suggestions for what's on the web or even in your drive. And it's also the Explore tool in Slides that does the reformatting. So if you just put your image and your text on the slide and you hit Explore, it auto suggests the formatting. And Google says that it can save you up to 30% in design time using these tools. So I just wanted to highlight that as part of, just pay attention to how that evolves this year, because I don't think that's the end of it. I don't think it's going away. And I just thought it dovetailed nicely into your updates.
Excellent. Thank you. That's very cool. Did you have like a lot more to talk about on that, or is that just, that's a quick overview that covered pretty much everything?
Maybe another time.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's what I was wondering. I'd love to see some more of that stuff. That's very cool.
I'll put the link to the deck in the show notes.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. So that's the update for what's new. So we're going to move into our feature presentation, which Nick here is going to be showing us. Oh, you don't need to see all that stuff show up. So the Applied Digital Skills Curriculum. So there's actually a number of different pieces of programs available from Google where they supply you with all the materials you're going to need. This is just one of them, and I'm going to let Nick take it over from here.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, great. So the Applied Digital Skills Curriculum is something that Google released last year. I think just before the summertime. I know I use this for professional development for our teachers. Each year we hold a Google Camp Google-Waka, as I like to call it. And our teachers are available with additional coursework to earn graduate credit for being there. So they get the contact hours, plus they have to do additional work. So Applied Digital Skills came in and helped me with that additional coursework time. Plus, it allows teachers to take a deep dive and explore on their own, so that you as the presenter or trainer don't have to do a lot of hand-holding. They would then maybe contact you if they run into a little problem, but the videos walk them through that part. So I'm going to do share screen and show you a little bit of the curriculum to you. So if we click right here, this is the curriculum that they have available. So if-then stories using Google Slides, research and develop a topic, technology, ethics, and security. So dealing with reports. Lots of teachers did the plan an event So that they delved into spreadsheet organization, digital collaboration, digital tools, guide to an area. So then they could do some automating of tasks and doing a little bit of coding, technologies, roles, and current events, plan a budget. Great one. My state requires students have to take a it's a financial literacy class before they graduate. So this is a great one for that. Create an editing tool with programming, technology at work, pick the next box office hit. Various ones, and then when you get to college and continuing education, so you have all of those to explore. The curriculum's laid out, so I will kind of go into the all of the different videos that are in here. Because of time and audio, we won't do that, but just so you can see how that works, you pull up the screen, it's going to have a video there that walks you through the process, and then you can go to the next screen. The nice part on the teacher end, it tracks people as they go, so you can see if they have watched the video or not, and then gives you different examples of projects to do. One thing I developed with this, and that I've shared in the show notes, is applied digital skills assignments. So I went through, and anytime they had to create a doc or a list, I then included that in there. So if they had to choose one of these things to meet like 12 hours of coursework, so plan an event, anytime I'd asked them to share or do something, I made a little cheat sheet so that as you went through, you can do that. There's also rubrics included in there. So I think it's great for professional development and also connecting into tools and the different parts of the Google universe. Also, we were talking about the cloud, Creative Cloud certification with Google, which is going to be released wider. I was part of the beta part, and those type of skills are doing those projects help you prep for that newest Google certification. Do you all have questions?
I have one to start. So with you mentioned that it tracks the progress as the student goes through and does the stuff. Do you get anything, like if you decide to set this up as a course that you know, you want to run for your staff, do you have any way of finding out how people are doing, or that's what you're using the quiz and stuff that you create afterwards?
I would say I kind of did it two different ways. It's going to track their there's a dashboard when you get into it on the teacher side, which I'll open that up and share it again. But what the dashboard allows you to do is see what they have viewed. Some of the other stuff they're either going to have to share with you. I collected it in Google Dashboard, or not Google Dashboard, I'm sorry, Google Classroom. So I can click here. I have a class code very similar to Google Docs or Google Classroom. In this one, I don't have any classes, but if I clicked on the data part, I can click and see here it shows me what things they have clicked through on the videos, if that helps give some sense.
Okay, so that's part of when you go to that page, it asks you, are you a student or are you a teacher? Mm-hmm. I would say I'm a teacher, and then that would be my class list. Okay, that's awesome. That's good. I never knew that part.
Yeah, so you could do more, especially for if I was going to use this with students, a regular day-to-day class, then I would use this feature. With professional development, I kind of put that out there just because time-wise and tracking, sometimes you share it once and then you don't see them again. So that's just, that you just kind of approach that on a case-by-case basis.
Right. Cool. Any other questions from anyone else?
Nick, have you used this with Google Classroom? I know that a lot of teachers are, integrating it with their use of Classroom, assigning different students, turning their artifacts that way. What's your opinion with that?
That's what I did with this summer, because and that's why I created that list of to-do things, because I wanted to be sure that I had those in there, and then I made that as a requirement as I went through. There's also rubrics that they've created in there, and you can access those in the FAQ, which is linked on the Google slide.
So the curriculum, if you think about when we first started talking about it, the beta program back in April, it's really gone from beta and concept to trial and review to being fully able to be implemented in pieces as an ELO or even a full half credit class, or however you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
With being able to utilize Google Classroom with it by assigning different things and having them turn in artifacts, and also is mentioned on the cloud certification.
Mm-hmm. As a way to
as being kind of like
a prep for it. The test itself is multiple choice, but some of those things that you would do and would experience, you get the hands-on experience doing the projects that are in the Applied Digital Skills curriculum.
Wow. So this is really the pathway to the student certification, training for support staff too, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, could be a nice support for that too. It gets them in there, gets them understanding how hands-on, step-by-step process. So it walks them all the way through that, which is really nice, because sometimes we as trainers, we have that hour or a day, and that's all we have. And people need some let it sink in time, and then they want to go further, but you may be on to the next school. This gives them a chance to dive deeper, and it's free. You can't beat free.
So if you're a trainer out there watching, I think there's a couple of really strong takeaways here. Is the fact that this can be utilized in the classroom. So we need to make teachers aware that it's available. We need some time to drink it up a little bit, to get maybe a little bite of it, or chunk of it, and get a demo of it. The certification, if any of you have been hearing about us mention it, probably don't even know about that. I'm going to do a quick screen share and pull up the site, referring to this, right? The Google Cloud Certified.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is you went through the beta. Did you go through the launch? Is it actually launched now, or is it still in beta?
That part I'm not sure, but if you're seeing that web page, I think it's launched.
Well, if you go to the website, I think it tells you that the beta's closed, but they're going to launch. And I believe the target's March, but I might be wrong. But this is where you can go and take that exam that Nick was talking about. So if you want to become as a trainer, because you want to be able to it for your staff, or know how it would integrate with your support staff or our students, it says right on the website that the length is 2 hours, $55. Further down the page, it mentions review the applied digital skills. This is the curriculum that Nick is talking about, and it's a free computer literacy course. It also mentions some other resources too. And this was a non-educator path. So people have been asking for years for student certifications, and we always get demands for teaching staff, like admin assistants. Wouldn't this be nice to be able to say, hey, you have an opportunity to become cloud certified, and this would raise the level of integration and use with your admins and your office support staff. So I think that drawing attention to that could open up a lot of opportunities for trainers as well.
And the nice part, it's much more, I guess, on the practical nature, because with the educator, you're dealing with pedagogy also, and prepping for those exams. And this one, it's really just the practical everyday use of Google and business life, school, which I think offers more things. I do want to let people know, if you take it, it is different than taking the trainer exam that we all took, which was those who recertified before the 19th or 18th or 19th. It's totally different than that. This one, you have to better be sure you go to the bathroom before you start the test, because you can't get up, because there is a real human somewhere in the cloud watching you on the other end, making sure that you're not cheating. You have to turn your laptop or Chromebook or whatever all the way around so they can see the room. Can't have anything on the table. It is a full kind of lockdown test, not open note, not I know with the educator exam, you know, there's a little bit more wiggle room. There is not with the cloud certification.
So you're saying that you really need to know your stuff, not know how to Google for stuff.
Correct.
Okay, that's good to know.
Exam. It's not an exam you can take as casually, I should say, as previous exams. They'll fail you if you don't do everything exactly what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Oh, exciting. You know, one of the things I liked, because Nick, you were talking about how the curriculum there is good for not just educators, but for the people at work and businesses and stuff like that. And I'm doing some work with some nonprofits, and that's one of the cool things. I know that the Google for Nonprofits, I mean, if you haven't looked at it, awesome program if you can get into it. And I know that they're talking about having some kind of certification for that coming down the road. I wonder if this is going to apply and work with that as well, because I could sure see how it's all doing that.
Mm-hmm. I think it affords a lot. It's just the basics of using the Google Suite, how sharing works, how to do simple, doing an average, all those really basic skills that you would need out there in the working world.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Thanks for that. Any other questions about Nick's presentation? Nope.
No, thanks. And did all that work with your folks, that you were able to share your experience. It's nice. It's something we should keep talking about, because it's kind of a little off to the side, and it's extremely valuable product. A ton of work into it, and kids and teachers and everyone can benefit from it. So I think it's good to keep mentioning it.
Yeah, especially because now it's almost like there's a standard way that you can reference to this, here's how you do a special event or something, and then not have to keep recreating all that same kind of stuff. Nick, did you do all of the different curriculums? Like, have you gone through all of those 8 hours and 10 hours of all of those?
No, I have not. I did, since I lived in, the Google world for a while, the exam did not wear me out. But if you are just diving in, it's great for getting you started and walking you step by step. This is how you share. This is how to type the data and to think about those practical things.
Because I was already impressed with the number of hours that you've put in to get all these certifications. To actually have done each one of those things as well, I would have.
No, I did not. I graded a lot of people's hours of work this summer for them to get their graduate credit, but and I previewed lots of them. I was like, oh, this is really detailed, focused, step by step.
Okay, so I'm not as impressed now.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. All right, so let's take a look at what we're going to do next then. We're going to move on to our next section, which is random shares, where everyone's basically just found some information that they want to share with the group. And I do believe that, Allison, you are up first. Yep.
Sorry about that. I forgot my video was on, and I got it.
Oh, yeah, we saw that.
Kid. Yes, I want to talk a little bit of brief update on Google Sites. Another thing we got to keep talking about, because we're going into 2 years of new Google Sites and still kind of in a transition of updates and what's migration going to look like. So before I do that, I want to mention that trainers have with apps events. I never mention apps events on the show because I don't want to commercialize what we do, but I am a partner with a global PD partner with Google called Apps Events, and we do a lot of different types of professional development training. And I have opportunities for trainers because I can't do everything, and I'm always looking to bring on new trainers to run boot camps and run sessions at our events. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm here, and that if you want to reach out to me and see if there's any opportunities, please feel free to do that. That's one of the things I love to do as what I do with an organization like Apps Events, is that I can help provide platforms and help people grow. And I think that's what I want to do. I want to help people. So please get in touch with me, and you can find and we'll keep adding them. You just go to appsevents.com and you'll see where you can submit sessions, or you can find out where events are and you can contact me. So that's all I'm going to say about Apps Events. The sites updates, I have a few resources I wanted to share. One is Stiegl is a great Google partner. I think they're in the UK. I've gotten valuable information from them over the years, and they have a group you can join, and I put the notes in the show notes. It's a new Google Sites update group, up to date with different things that are going on. And for example, Nick's going to talk about embedding code into the website, so I will leave that for Nick. But let's say you wanted to know, oh, site footers are out, I want to learn a little bit more about that. If you join this group, it's focused just on the site updates. Once you access a topic, there's a direct link to their website. I get no money for this. Stiegl and I don't have any relationship at all. So I think it's a great resource. Information you need. They have a nice GIF that shows what it does and some directions on how to do it. So that is in the show notes as a shortened URL under sharing.
Can I also, sorry, can I just
Go ahead.
interrupt? The other thing about them is that they are designers, and so they understand how to design for mobile devices. We're all used to, a lot of people are used to doing layout and design just like you would for a printed document. And so the way the grid system works, because as the device goes from desktop to mobile, things shift around a lot differently. They have a lot of examples that you can learn from, because the design style is totally different than what you're used to and what you think it should be. So I really recommend, as Allison mentioned, their site's great, and Allison's pulling up their site as well. But make sure that you check out the examples, because they have all sorts of different examples made with the new Google Sites. Sorry, Allison, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, no, that's great. So that just ties into me knowing that I wasn't sharing my screen either, so that's good.
But
so
you are now.
I am now. So the link in the show notes, it says here, Stiegl Google Sites update, join here. When you click on the link, it'll bring you to the group that has all of the, click on. Any topic you click on will link directly to their webpage that has that resource. So I think that's a really nice resource for trainers who are looking for examples and quick how-tos and things like that. The second piece is that GSuite, just GSuite in general, not Google for Education, has a nice training center that's helpful if you need some quick instructions on the fly. So I put a link to the Google Sites from the GSuite Learning Center. Has sites. So I added that resource because sometimes it's just nice to have those clearly defined steps when you need to get something done quickly. And then finally, if you want to, this will gauge how many people actually are watching and want to participate. like to add a site to this Google form, there's a shared spreadsheet. So I created a form specifically for the Google education trainers. Share site that you've created or that maybe one of your districts has created. So for example, mvrsd.org, I think this is the website. Yeah. District. I was on their website recently and I said, great. They took their old site, because I worked with them when they were using old sites, and they converted everything to new sites. And there's a lot of great here. And I thought, wow, wouldn't this be good if somebody had this as an example to pull from? So if you go to the form and you just add, you know, what it is, submit. But if you want to add any commentary or your contact information, hey, maybe you do redesign for people and you want to show them what you've done and say, hey, contact me if you'd like me to hire me to do yours. That's okay too.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Spreadsheet. So if you click on the link to the spreadsheet, to what you and everyone else has put in. So I also posted that on Google+. I'll probably post it on Twitter as well. So maybe we'll get a good collection of educational resource of the new sites so that it'll help us when we're trying to redesign for our districts as well. And that's just if you want to take advantage of it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Just so everyone knows, we have about 10 minutes left. Nick, you're up. But you're muted, Nick.
There we go. I wanted to touch on two quick things that are now available. Many of you who have waited for this for a long time for Google Sites, embed HTML and JavaScript code. So I went to my Twitter feed and you click widgets and you go through and get the HTML code. I've cut and pasted that where it says embed code. I click next. I give it a second to preview for me. Now it's in there and I can click insert. And now I can have my Twitter feed included into my Google site. Tears and screams of joy. Another thing that we have available that we were very sad to lose, but now is back. So if you go insert image, used to be called take a snapshot when you were under image. Now you have camera, so you can use your webcam again. So if you have students turn in their math homework by doing it on paper and then taking a picture of it by holding it up on to the Google to the webcam, you now have that back. So two exciting shares that people were sad we lost got back. And do be sure that if something changes and you be sure to give feedback, because Google listens to that feedback, because they added that camera feature back in because people were like, we want this back. And I know they probably were listening to the embed code for 2 years, but finally someone was able to code it correctly the way they needed to. So those are my two random shares.
Excellent. Thank you. I have just one quick one. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but Google had apps available from the web store that you could use for Chrome. And about 3 or 4 months ago, they took out all those apps. And one of the apps that I used to use a lot was the Google Remote Desktop, which allowed me to go in and actually control my mom's computer. Rather than just look at it, I can just say, you know what, let me take over your computer and I'm going to run in there and go and do that. Google has then, because they've taken that away, they've actually have a beta out right now, and it is at the website, funny enough, remotedesktop.google.com. Now, the two things you need to remember about this is A, it only works in Chrome right now, and you must be logged in with a Google account. So, you know, if your Gmail account's logged in or whatever, that works great. But now the choices come down, do I want to help someone or get help? Remote support here, the person would click on that. they'd say, I want to get support. That allows them to generate a code. And why is it asking for a download? This is fresh. Okay, they used to be built in. This is interesting. Anyways, so there's a download piece that has to go in. So they can, once that downloads in, all they have to do is say, I want support. It generates a 6-digit number as a security number. They then email it or tell it over the phone to the other person. The second person would go and say, I want to give support. They would put in the access code there, and then it's done. So really easy help for that aren't with you, that don't understand how to do all the rest of it. For the advanced person, there's remote access. What that does is it allows you to install a piece of software on a computer. So for example, I have an iMac mini at home. I install a piece of software on there, set this up. Oh, I know why, because I'm in a different account. I can go in and set that up, and I can access that computer anytime. I don't have to set up complicated VNC software or anything like that. It's all done for you, and it's tied to my account when I set that up. So explore that, take a look at that. It's in beta, but there's, I mean, it's a really cool option to have that when you're trying to troubleshoot someone's computer and you don't want to travel 3 hours to do it. So that's our random shares. We're going to spend a couple of minutes here. Justin wants to talk a bit about some of the summary stuff. Do you want me to screen share, or do you want to do that, Justin?
If you could screen share, that'd be perfect.
Sure thing. Let me just make sure I have the right slide in place here. This is the program announcements one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
One slide.
30 seconds here, or 2 seconds, and there we go. We are presenting. Go ahead.
Okay, awesome. I see it. Okay, so thank you to all who participated in the recertification 2018 process. Our team is currently sorting through all the data, and we'll be sending out follow-up emails and with the next steps in the following days. If you did not pass the product update exam, we'll send it back to you with the correct answers, so that you'll see what you missed and why. If you missed the deadline, please reach out to the program alias as listed on the screen, and we'll get you help sorted out. 2 weeks ago, we onboarded 86 new certified trainers into the program. They're from Colombia, Hong Kong, Indonesia, and the UK. So if any of you guys are in this hangout, welcome and congratulations. If any of you know anyone who would be a perfect fit for this program, please check out the Nominate a Trainer site on the private trainer website. And there's a form there that you could fill out all the information. And with this, they'll get a voucher to take the trainer skills assessment. So that'll be a free exam for them. If any of you guys have any questions about the program or need access to any of the platforms, please check out the private trainer site. If you are in the Google group, there's a link in there. And then by being in the Google group, you automatically have access into the site. And if you can't find your answers there, please email this program alias, gfe-trainer-program@google.com, and we'll get back to you. And lastly, I just wanted to say thank you for all those who are in this program, and we look forward to more exciting things ahead in 2018.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, that's pretty much it. Tom, do you have any last words you want to do? This is your first time hanging out here.
I think my microphone wasn't working before. I just wanted to add a tiny bit on the GSuite certification, just to add some context. The one that's launching, it will hopefully, and this isn't confirmed, but it will hopefully launch it sometime in February. It is being built by the enterprise team, which is why you have that Google Cloud certified thing at the top, and some of the things like the price tag that were described reflect that kind of enterprise business focus. However, we're working, and hopefully later in the year, we're going to have a version that's, so you still have the same certification at the end of it, but is built for with educators in mind more than businesses. So that's going to take a little bit of time to come out, but that's something we're working on because we know $75 is a lot of money, and we know that remote proctoring, while it's perfect for some situations, isn't perfect for every situation.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Okay, that's it.
Great information. Thank you.
Yeah, very excited to see where that program's going to go. Any other last questions, comments, guys?
just encourage people to check out the shared resources because it's newly populated as of January 18th with everyone sharing the resources. So there's lots of great things in there now, I'm sure. So, and if you use those resources, just be sure to give attribution if you are using them during a training.
Or if you've decided to borrow some of the elements of one slide or something like that, you still have to give attribution to whoever you borrowed it from. Just because you've added a couple of pieces of text and a splashy graphic doesn't mean that it's yours now. So please do that. I was actually in there today. I think there's over 5,000 presentations in there. So lots of stuff to search for. Okay, that's it. We're at our 45-minute mark, which is awesome. Thank you very much for joining us. Those of you in the archive, if you're going to watch us afterwards, the chat window is not going to work and the question stuff's not going to work, but there's the comments in the YouTube video itself. So please, if you have any questions, throw them in there and we will get back and answer them. For those of you that are watching this live or in the archive, by all means, feel free to share it out. Let's get more and more people doing it. I know the time zones and the times are always kind of iffy who's going to join in live, but let's make sure the archive gets used a lot. That's it for all of us. So thank you very much. Everyone say goodbye.
Bye. Thanks for coming. Thanks for